The phone buzzed. It was late, almost midnight. My wife, who I thought was asleep next to me, stirred. Her hand snaked out from under the covers, grabbing her phone from the nightstand. The screen lit up her face, casting an ethereal glow in the dark room. I watched her through half-closed eyes, pretending to be asleep. She read something, her thumb moved quickly, and then she deleted it, just like that. The screen went dark, and she rolled back over, sighing softly as if a weight had been lifted. But for me, a weight had just settled in, heavy and cold in the pit of my stomach. Who texts you at midnight? And why delete it so fast? The next morning, the silence at the breakfast table was deafening. Every normal, everyday sound, the clink of a spoon against a ceramic bowl, the gentle hum of the refrigerator felt amplified, intrusive. I watched her as she methodically stirred her oatmeal, her gaze fixed on the swirling patterns. She seemed completely normal, humming a little tune under her breath. But I couldn't shake the image from last night. The quick, almost furtive glance at her phone, the decisive swipe of her thumb. My mind started racing, filling in the blanks with scenarios I didn't want to imagine. Was she hiding something? Was she talking to someone else? Every smile she offered felt strained. Every touch felt like a performance. The seed of doubt, planted in the dead of night, was already starting to sprout. Days turned into a week, and the space between us grew wider, more tangible. It was like an invisible wall had gone up. We still went through the motions of our life together. We talked about our day. We cooked dinner. We watched our favorite shows. But the easy intimacy, the comfortable silence we once shared, was gone. It was replaced by a tense, polite distance. I find myself watching her, scrutinizing every little thing. The way she'd quickly put her phone face down when I walked into the room. The times she'd take calls in another part of the house, her voice a low murmur I couldn't quite make out. I felt like a detective in my own home, searching for clues to a crime I wasn't even sure had been committed. The more I looked, the more I found, or at least the more I thought I found. The distance wasn't just physical anymore. It was an emotional chasm, and I was terrified we were both about to fall in. I couldn't take it anymore. The not knowing was eating me alive. It was a Saturday afternoon. The sun was streaming through the living room window, and she was reading a book on the couch, looking so peaceful, so innocent. My heart was pounding in my chest. I walked over and just stood there for a moment, gathering my courage. "Can we talk?" I asked. My voice sounded foreign to my own ears, tight and strained. She looked up, her expression shifting from surprise to concern. "What's wrong?" she asked, putting her book down. I took a deep breath. "The other night," I started, "I saw you get a text. Late. You deleted it." The words hung in the air between us, heavy and accusatory. I watched her face for any flicker of guilt, any sign that my suspicions were true. Her eyes widened, but she didn't look away. She just stared at me, her expression unreadable. The silence stretched on, and in that moment I prepared myself for the worst. She didn't deny it. She just sat there, quiet, as I explained the spiral of doubt I'd been in all week. After I finished, the silence returned, thick with unspoken words. Later that night, unable to sleep, I found myself drawn to our shared home office. Her laptop was open, still logged in. I know I shouldn't have. It was a violation of her privacy, a line I never thought I'd cross. But the need to know, to see the proof with my own eyes, was overwhelming. My hands were shaking as I navigated to her phone's cloud backup. I found the recently deleted items folder. My heart was hammering against my ribs, and there it was. A single message sent at 11:58 p.m. from a number I didn't recognize. I clicked on it, my breath catching in my throat, bracing myself for the words that could shatter my world. The message wasn't what I expected. It wasn't a clandestine love note or a secret plan. It was just a few lines of text. It read, "Hey, just checking in. Today was the anniversary. Thinking of you and sending love. Let me know if you need to talk." Anniversary? What anniversary? I scrolled up, looking for context, but it was a standalone message. No previous conversation, just this one cryptic text. My mind raced, trying to piece it together. The date. I pulled out my phone and checked. It was the anniversary of her mother's passing. A day she never liked to talk about, a day she always tried to just get through quietly, without any fuss. The message was from her estranged sister, the one she hadn't spoken to in years after a bitter fight following their mom's death. Suddenly, the late-night text, the quick deletion, it all started to make a different kind of sense. When I went back to the bedroom, she was sitting up, the moonlight illuminating the tear tracks on her face. I sat on the edge of the bed, the laptop still in my hands. I didn't have to say anything. She saw it. "You looked," she whispered. It wasn't an accusation, just a statement of fact. I nodded, ashamed. And then she started to talk. She told me how her sister had reached out for the first time in 5 years. She said she was so shocked, so overwhelmed with a mix of anger and relief that she didn't know how to respond. She deleted the message in a moment of panic, wanting to pretend it never happened, wanting to push the complicated grief and family drama away. She hadn't told me because she was ashamed. Ashamed of her broken family, ashamed of her grief, and ashamed that she didn't know how to handle it. She was afraid I would see her as broken. That night, we talked for hours. Really talked for the first time in what felt like forever. I told her about my fears, the wild stories my imagination had concocted. She told me about her pain, the deep, unresolved grief for her mother, and the complex feelings she had for her sister. There were no more secrets, no more invisible walls. Just two people being completely, painfully honest with each other. It was hard. It was raw. We both cried. I apologized for my suspicion, for violating her trust by looking at her messages. She apologized for shutting me out, for not believing I was strong enough to share her burden. It wasn't about blame. It was about understanding. It was about realizing that we had both allowed fear and assumption to create a distance that communication could have easily bridged. We had to learn how to talk to each other again, not just about the easy things, but about the hard things too. In the morning, as the sun came up, I looked at my wife, really looked at her, and I saw the woman I fell in love with. Not a perfect, flawless person, but a real, complex human being with scars and struggles, just like me. My suspicion had been a choice, a path I'd chosen to walk down. And now I had another choice to make. I could let the breach of trust on both our parts define our future, or I could choose to trust again. To choose her again, I reached out and took her hand. "I'm sorry," I said again. "And I love you." She squeezed my hand back, a small, tired smile on her face. "I love you too," she whispered. It wasn't a magic fix. It was a beginning. A choice to rebuild, to be better for each other. The days that followed were different. The tension was gone, replaced by a quiet, deliberate effort to reconnect. We talked more. We checked in with each other. She ended up calling her sister, a difficult but necessary conversation. Our relationship wasn't the same as it was before that week. It was stronger. We had walked through a fire of doubt and mistrust and come out the other side not unscathed, but together. We learned that the foundation of a relationship isn't the absence of problems, but how you face them when they arrive. It's choosing communication over assumption and choosing vulnerability over fear. Every relationship has its tests. Have you ever let suspicion create a divide between you and someone you love? It's a powerful, destructive force, but it's one we can overcome with honesty and courage. If you've ever been through something similar, or if this story resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about it. Communication is key, not just in our relationships, but in our communities too. Thanks for watching, and if you found value in this story, please consider subscribing for more content about navigating the complexities of life and love. See you next time.